sandwich, but yeah, pretty much like a sandwich. Make sure there's good stuff coming out, but make sure there's stuff that they can leave.
Do you mind that just say Mika say something and I'm like, oh, I really want to put this point through as well when it comes to a certain piece
just
of stuff?
yeah. So just wait your turn. And
Yeah.
So everyone can have a turn.
It's just different to next year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
So this is
It's just feedback, no judging. Okay?
no judging.
top
25.
So these are the best in these
They've already been pulled
They've
out.
already been judged.
Oh,
Yeah, they've already
sweet.
been judged. So all you need to do is say something nice, something they can learn, and then
And one of them is mine.
No shit. No shit. Only one.
We're being educational but encouraging. I mean, they're not all young people,
Yeah.
but they're
Some of us are old.
No, don't worry.
Most of them are at the top of their game.
Oh, mate, I'm involved with this one up in Auckland. It works on a very high standard. So.
And the other thing too
Just say
is
something
they
positive
do the
about
top, with the top 20,
yeah, just congratulate them.
the first 10 that hold the award is a good group, the last 10 are not. And it's completely, they don't even know what to do. All they know is that obviously that there's
Than the one I'm in the last 10.
Yeah.
the highest score.
I do have a favourite. Yes. I lost a gold one about 2 years ago.
We don't know. Because it's already been
$10 if you
I've
want.
actually been on it.
Yeah, so I got $10. Right, so they're all on.
But that's not announced until the gala day. Oh, no, sorry. It's not. It's announced is it tomorrow night with the NZIPP. It's different. Sorry,
So they're all in there. They're all numbered in order of
finalist.
doing them. Yep. So all you need to do is when you finish that one, there, click on
Yeah,
this.
I'm going home today, but be
Next
kind.
slideshow. The only difference this year is that Photo Warehouse has a video. So when you use the arrow and it goes to the video, you can click the arrow one more time and play it.
We're just giving positive.
Otherwise, it's the same as every other year.
But with some
And you realise I'm perimenopause and counting innovation.
I put you in here because I'm like, I don't have to worry about Michelle.
No,
She
you
knows
don't
what
have
she's
to worry.
doing.
Once you show me the buttons, it's
Yeah,
fine.
it's the right arrow. So it's got, it doesn't have a score, but it has like what the reward was and then placing within it up until the top 10. Top 10 are green and improved.
Get my toe dipped into the
We can't tell them.
My one
And this is my blurb.
to the top 10 of the portrait. Russell said, oh, no, do this.
just message it.
When I showed it, I was so proud. And he goes,
Yeah, I'm only in the judges. Just go sit there. I broke it.
Come now.
oh, okay, yeah, North Shore. Yeah.
Oh,
Russell's-
Cindy,
Russell's
do these
convening
turn on at
for me
eight?
in a month's time.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
We'd be a good crew.
Yeah, cool.
Hey, come on, let's get a photo of the four of us.
And the other thing is, those microphones are on all the time.
Okay.
So once they turn on, that's it. But still ring forward to talk into them and then back. So you've got top 25 and it just tells them where they get when they get to the top 10. And then there's this.
So you're going to tell us that?
The finalists, the finalists get announced, I think, tomorrow. Tonight, sorry. Tonight at 5 o'clock, the finalists of those groups, but the actual photographers are here.
So you guys have already picked the winners yourselves.
That's all, don't worry about it.
We've already judged.
Who judged them?
They're all just different, I was one.
So they've all got judged. They all had a panel of 5 judging.
Digitally or something?
Yes.
Right.
And then
Finals judging was very similar. So it was very similar to that.
So why do they separate those two processes? Oh no, I mean even for this last few. You know? So this won't take long.
The landscape takes between them. The landscape takes one out, and then macro takes one out. So we've got I've got a screenshot. So you're on the left side, then you're on Yeah, you're going to follow. You'll follow through. Cool. It's going to be great.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Right.
What's on?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I can't remember what
Right,
time.
you've got 2 minutes.
Did you say 2 minutes? Is it literally 2 minutes?
Yeah, go grab it now. Go grab water now. Yeah.
Morning, how are we?
Good morning. How are you?
These backgrounds are always on. They're a little bit less sensitive, so you do have to use it on. It just means that the sound quality is better for you on the stream.
Okay,
So
cool.
the stream is live at the moment. So
It is live. Just trying to get water and it sends it back to me. See?
I took it for Victor. I took it for a portrait competition, which
Oh, where did Russell go?
should we keep them in line or keep them in the middle? Should we keep them in line? What do you reckon?
Right.
Okay, yes.
Remember, these microphones are on. They're not as sensitive as the other ones, so you do have to get
A bit closer. Okay, you guys. Michelle? Thank you.
I can't even do that, eh? My hands are too little or something.
Can you send them to me?
All right. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone going this morning? Everyone here watching and also out in the internet land. Today we're going to go through the top 25 landscape category. We're going to go through a lot of other things as well, so make sure you stay hooked in all day. But for now, the landscape category is intended for photographs depicting the features of an area of land, landforms, or man-made landscape features. The main focus of the image should be this landscape, but it may include other elements that give context to the story of the image. Entries may be traditional and or interpretive. Any form of editing is permitted in this category as long as it complies with the global rules. No AI-generated content, non-photographic elements, or photographic elements not created by the entrant are allowed. Now, the top 25. For each of the entry, read the place within the category and an award. Then I'm going to invite the judges to give the entrant some constructive feedback. When we get to the top 10, the entries will be random. No placing or score will be read. This entry is made the top 10, and then one of the judges is going to give some feedback. So today, we are sponsored by Photo Warehouse. Photo Warehouse are proud sponsors of the New Zealand Amateur Photography Awards. Photo Warehouse have been supporting NZ photographers since 1987. It's operated by real people who know and love cameras. 7 stores nationwide, plus an extensive range of new and used products online. photowarehouse.co.nz. All right, now if you're in Christchurch and looking for something to do, at 5 o'clock tonight, the category winners will be announced, along with 3 finalists for the Amateur Photographer of the Year. So make sure you stick around to watch that. And if you're in Christchurch, come and have a look at the exhibition hall and you'll see some of the entries of the Iris Professional Photography Awards which are on display. And I had a sneak peek yesterday and they are amazing. If you're keen to own one of these gorgeous prints, there are a number of them being auctioned off tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So make sure you don't miss out on owning some gorgeous prints. Ones that are available for auction are marked I'm up for auction. And there's some more information, but we will go on with that later because we all really want to see these gorgeous prints. So let's go.
Sharing that passion with Kiwis for generations. Filling our shelves with everything from cameras, the coolest little gadgets that make you stop and say, that's actually pretty awesome. 7 stores across New Zealand. Would love to meet you. Welcome to Photo Warehouse, your local camera store.
All right, so this image got a silver award and it was 23rd equal.
I think this is a beautifully crafted photograph with the bird in prime position. I think that the little bird in the distance is a nice little cookie. In order to improve the image, I would probably suggest so there's a couple of black bits that are branches right at the bottom that could probably be removed. And also, I think that if the photo overall was a little bit brighter in the lighter parts, like the sky, that would really impact and make it more of a strong silhouette.
I also enjoy this image. I think cropping would help here a little bit. Sometimes it's a dirty word, but it's such a strong element. The silhouette of the main tree is such a strong element that I find the little ones at the bottom are, for me, a little bit frivolous compared to how commanding the rest of it is. And so I've just sort of cropped it with my hand, and I find that it just leaps ahead when there's just the strong bird, the strong tree, without our eyes perhaps being dragged to the bottom with those support actors, if you like. So beautiful capture, strengthened by perhaps a bit of cropping thought.
I'm third in line here. Congratulations on your silver. I'm really thrilled for you. I'm going to probably mirror everything that the other 2 judges have said. For me personally, I just would have liked it like the same, just a tiny bit more crops. We've just got that little bit of fringe. Keeping that bird in as well would look great. But I really love your brave choice of cropping. I think it's fantastic, and it's something that really held our interest. Well done.
This image got 23rd equal and it got a silver award. Congratulations.
What a high impact image, and the impact is partly being created by the contrast because you've got the deep blacks and then the really bright brights. Despite the fact that I'm complimenting you on your impact and contrast, perhaps a little bit less of the really dark would, if you could bring that up in brightness just a little bit so that we could see a little bit more of the landscape, particularly on the left. I think that would really lift the photograph, but I do really appreciate the way that the setting sun has highlighted those beautiful mosses in the middle ground and also the path into the ocean in the foreground. They're fantastic elements. Congratulations.
Well, this is a bit of a tough one really, because I just absolutely love it. We're led into the image by the beautiful action down the bottom of the frame, and I'm not sort of let down anywhere really. Perhaps the only change that you could make that isn't there is a little bit of detail in some of those dark areas that have been mentioned, but really all in all it's a tremendous image, and I'm finding it hard to find much fault at all, so well done to you.
I'm the same. It gives me a really fantastic feeling, and I think the feeling is really important and strong in this image. In order to lift it just a fraction, maybe just the luminance, the blues around those edges of the sand, seeing a little bit of detail there would have looked absolutely amazing. And even in the front foreground with that beautiful texture, going from the blues to the golds and giving that almost like a metallic feel down where the blacks are, down that, to maybe just lifting it a fraction to give us a bit more cookies there. But well done.
This image got 23rd equal place and a silver award. Congratulations, Heather.
I really like what's going on here. There's just a lot to enjoy. My eye just keeps moving around the image and appreciating all the different elements. I'm not sure what I'm looking at in the foreground. I think it might be just a lot of birds, but I like how the texture of that is echoed by the texture in the surf. Of the breaking waves, and then of course you've got the solo bird and the rays coming through. It's really well crafted. I think one of the things in landscape photography is to try and avoid having holes in the sky, I call it, when the brightest areas have lost all detail. I think the only way to achieve that is to slightly underexpose so that you can keep some of that colour in the sky and then brightening everything around it. But it's really tricky. But I think this is beautifully composed and it's a moment to treasure. Congratulations.
Yeah, also, I'm finding this image beautiful as well. I think I actually know where it is, Gannet Rock in Muriwai in the west coast of Auckland. I've actually swum out to that island, believe it or not. So I've seen many different versions of this area, and this is really a tremendous one. The individual bird in the sky really is a holding element, and it's supported by that lovely phalanx, if you like, of birds nesting on the rock. So I mean, if this is 23rd, this is a very high level of entries, and I'm happy with the holes in the sky, to be honest. It gives a bit of a light source, a bit of energy, a bit of a dynamic in the range of light levels that we see. The rest of it sort of shares a bit of a sort of a level of luminance, if you like. So for me, I quite enjoy the intrusion of the light from the white spaces. So all in all, I just think a tremendous image and well done.
I'm mirroring everybody else as well. This print would just look, this image would look incredible in print, and that beautiful deep gold and the browns down there would just look incredible, and I'm really thrilled for you. The gannets as well, that really, just that triangulation down there, it's just beautiful. Well done.
This image got 22nd and was placed with a silver award. Congratulations.
With merit. You're first. I think you're first now.
Oh, am I? Oh, beg your pardon. Okay. So Sharon, you is the author, is that correct? The photographer?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well done, Sharon. I've been here myself, as possibly many of us have, and I thought my shot was good, but this leaves it for dead. So this is a tremendous image, actually. I really don't know what else to say. I mean, I don't know what else you could have done. It just looks fantastic, and I just love looking at it. It just takes me everywhere in the frame. My eye goes all over the place. It's fabulously entertaining, actually. So congratulations on a great image.
I feel the same, Sharon. Congratulations. It gives me a really great feeling. You know you're there, you're starting to feel the cold of things, or, you know, it could be a sunrise, to be honest, but it's just gorgeous. And the way that you've included that, the part of the puddle, you haven't cut that off on the left-hand side, really kind of helps our eyes just travel around. That silver with merit, well deserved.
I'm struggling to find a way to improve this also. I think sometimes the conditions that you're given limit what you can achieve in landscape photography, and I think this is one of those cases that you've just absolutely nailed it for what you've been gifted. The glow on those rocks, the way that the colour of that beautiful golden light contrasts with the blues in the puddle and the blue of the sky just works so beautifully, and the central placement of that formation and the reflection in the puddle, you've absolutely nailed it. Congratulations.
When you guys are talking, go right up.
Okay.
This image got 21st place, and it is a silver with merit. And can we have Simone talk about this one first?
Congratulations on your silver with merit. Absolutely stunning. I know this area quite well, and it's a scene that you see quite often, and I just love it. I think in order to elevate it, there's just like a little tiny bit of a smudge on the left-hand side crop in the middle, that just removing that would have, because my eye does kind of stick there a little bit, but beautiful work. Congratulations.
I echo everything that Simone just said, and it's just that, and it's so fractional, so it seems a bit nitpicky to point it out. But yeah, if you're trying to improve the image, just that smudge on the left. But also, we're seeing it against a white background, and I think it's looking less. The whites are looking less white because of that. So perhaps just check whether you can increase the brightness of the whites to make it look more snow-like. That might make it feel more cold and give that impact. But oh my gosh, I'm freezing just looking at it. So fantastic work.
Yeah, once again, really beautiful, simple image. The lovely monochromatic sort of feel that it has. The little smudge on the left, I mean, you know, we're looking at things to sort of pick on really, but it's damn hard to find something to pick on because you've really nailed it as well, as I'm sure all your colleagues have too. So that little smudge on the left, it does take the eye because there's a horizontal line running through it. We read left to right, right to left, and it just takes a little bit. So, but for half a centimetre, you've got yourself a pure subject right smack in the middle. I enjoy the little ripples running through the trees and the water just to give a little bit of a dynamic there. So it's not an exact sort of reflection. So it's lovely. It's organic and it's well seen, and I think you've been rewarded for being freezing cold one morning.
This image was 20th, and it was awarded a silver with merit. Congratulations.
The panoramic crop is fantastic for this. It really gives the eye so much to enjoy, and you really kind of follow the line of the foreground, the shoreline in the foreground, and then over that beautiful hill in the distance and off to the side, and then you know the brightness and the contrast in the centre brings you back in. So the eye has plenty to enjoy in this panorama, and it is thoroughly enjoyable. The frosty conditions and the really limited colour palette just makes it so beautiful. I guess if I'm looking very nitpicky for something to improve, I think there's just been a tiny little bit of over sharpening, just a fraction. But look, I'm again trying to find things to suggest to you to improve. I think this is a fantastic photograph. Congratulations.
Well done, Adrian. Also agreed, beautiful image to look at. Just simply for me, my eye, the visual energy is just truncated a little bit. You've just cut off the tip of the mountain at the background to the right. You have plenty of negative space on the left. You could have just swiveled just a tiny little bit to your right of the image and let that beautiful shape in the background find its finality, if you like, its final shape. That would have just bled into the horizon beautifully and would have aided and abetted that lovely sort of how the pond reaches out to our right in the foreground. So that's the only thing I pick up. I love the fact that you've tucked all those trees under the horizon of that hill and let the one just pop out with the two on the left. So well seen, beautifully captured for us, and congratulations.
I echo everything. I think you've done a really good job too when you've got the certain lines of horizons, and sometimes you look at a horizon line which is really now the road going from right to left, and sometimes you think, oh, that has to be tipped a bit correctly to straighten it. But when you've got all these different lines, it's really difficult to do that. So you've actually balanced that really well in a delicate way. So congratulations for that. And I really enjoy the personalities of the trees. It almost looks like you've got a bridal party on that island, and then you've got the proud parents standing behind on the left-hand side going, we did this, we had that crew right there, and we've worked hard to get them to this point. So yeah, you can see a bit of a story in there too with the trees. Congratulations, well done, silver with merit. It's just huge.
Can you tell who shoots weddings? I remember that. Wow, you saw all the good things. Imagine if I put a bridal party on there. It would look so cool. Anyhow, congratulations. This image got 19th place and was awarded a silver with merit.
Go, Russell.
Yeah, I'm just taking it all in, actually. It's an interesting perspective I've never seen of my own city, and I'm really enjoying it for that. It's really quite well sought out. I know where you are, and it's really cleverly thought where you've gone to take this. Not sure if I fully enjoy the intrusion of the bushes on at the end of the road here. Would have been possibly quite nice to see them blast out. But having said that, it shows the relationship of that road towards where the point comes out and that intersection that's just behind that bush. So I love the little tree illuminated under the spotlight there in the middle of the image. It takes our eye there and it entertains us fantastically because there is a lot to take in. So it's beautiful. I love the colour saturation that you've chosen to do. There's a little bit of nature, a little bit of man, a little bit of water, a little bit of everything really. And the personality of the streetlight in the far right corner there, it just sort of holds us in that lovely negative space. So really well done, mate, and congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations too. I really enjoyed this image, and I think you would have had a lot of trouble with that water and the lights going down to it because you've got all these different casts coming down from the certain lights, and studying it up close, it would have been a struggle with the noise, and if there was noise in there, or if that's the texture, obviously, just of the slight movement of the water. So just getting that fine balance would have been really difficult to do, and for everyone listening, apart from the photographer who actually won this amazing image, keeping an eye on noise in the water is what judges quite often see. So this has been quite a good example of handling that control really well. Congratulations.
I'll echo the enjoyment of that wonderful sweep of the road that really leads your eye through the image and tells you where to look, and then you get brought back into the frame with that wonderful glowing blue spire. In terms of improvement, the only thing I could suggest is there's that quite large area in the foreground of the reflective water, and while I completely understand that that's what was there, perhaps dulling it down just a little bit because it's quite a big space that draws the eye. Just dulling it down a little bit so that our eyes are drawn to all the other bright areas which are much more enjoyable. That's the only thing I can suggest, but this is a beautiful cityscape. Congratulations.
This image got 18th place and got a silver with merit. Congratulations, Dan.
Congratulations, Dan. Silver with merit, absolutely stunning. In order to improve it, just the little lights on the bottom right-hand side, just having a little bit of control there. And sometimes just with those background lights, they would have been a really, this is a difficult capture. You've got lights coming out from the church and trying to balance that with the mountains behind, so well done. But I'm going to let the other judges talk a little bit about that gorgeous thing shooting up from behind the church. Well done.
Yeah, you've certainly done your research or got really lucky, either way, to have the Milky Way in that position over the church, or given it's an open category, positioned it afterwards. But if it is in the natural way, this is really well planned. I really appreciate that you've got the lights on inside. That really gives us, it's not just a static building, it gives it light and life. And I really enjoy that you've done some light painting in the foreground to give us some texture of the grasses and give us a sense of depth, which is really hard to achieve with nighttime photography. I'm not entirely sure what to suggest in improvement. I think you've, again, really managed to capture this in a way that's very enjoyable and high impact. So huge congratulations on your silver with merit.
Yeah, great stuff here, Dan. I just love how really you've got the power of the universe, the infinite power of the universe coming down and just touching something as earthy and as settled and as solid as that little church. So not only is it a little church, but it's made of stone, and it's the heart of what we are. And yet above it rises up all this beautiful sort of thought towards the power of infinity, and that of which we don't know anything about. Perhaps the only thing that might take away from that little narrative, if you like, is that backlight on the toys and the trees to the right. For some reason or other, I'm trying to picture this image without those. Not to say that it's right or wrong that I've thought that, but other than that, it's just such a powerful thought, really well captured and beautifully presented. And Not being an astro nighttime sort of photographer, I don't know what else you could do to make it better, mate. It's an incredible effort. Thank you.
This image placed 17th and was awarded a silver with merit. Congratulations, Deborah.
Congratulations, Deborah, Silver with Merit. Absolutely fantastic. I really love the fact that you can see these beautiful details in a very dark, the control here would have been really dark to do with that huge bright light coming in and trying to keep everything right. The luminescence of the blues on the rocks down the bottom would be quite tricky to pull back a little bit because it is so blue, so I can see why it's reflecting there. Overall, solid job, foreground to the back, just beautiful. We've got a lot of painting going on in the background too that we're really looking at going, what on earth is that? It's got us wondering, which is a really fantastic challenge to do.
Yeah, looking at it, you're not sure if you're looking up or down or sideways. I mean, obviously, then you get the groundedness of the rocks on the ground, and you go, okay, I know what I'm looking at now. But I love that intrigue and that questioning that the ice cave, the end of the ice cave creates. It really gives us a sense of wonder. If in terms of improvement, there's just a little bit of brightness right at the bottom left edge of the frame that draws the eye away rather than makes it continue its journey around the scene. It's very minor, but I think that if that were a little darkened, then it would allow the eye to continue moving around forever. Congratulations on your silver with merit.
Well, Deborah, I don't really know what to say other than fantastic capture. It's otherworldly, and it's kind of hard to critique, really. If anything, perhaps for me personally, the top left corner is just probably a little bit heavy-handed compared to the palette of the rest of the image, and takes our eye where it doesn't really give us any information or any sort of entertainment up there. And then the comment made about the bottom right would have not been so evident. So other than that, though, tremendous. It's beautiful.
This image got 15th equal and was awarded a silver with merit. Congratulations.
What a great choice to make this into a panoramic. I think it really emphasises the buildings within the scene, and it gives a sense of place. Those mountains, the way that they have been dusted with beautiful sugar-coating snow, the cool of that contrasts so beautifully with the warmth in the foreground and that golden light. To me, this just says New Zealand colours all over, and I just think that you've really captured that beautifully. And the positioning of the buildings, I think you've got spot on, with the centre piece being the main building, and then the buildings either side kind of encircling the main building. I love the pops of green in the windows. I think that is actually a real strength of the image. I guess the only thing is my question, whether we need quite so much sky. So perhaps a little bit less sky, but I think actually that's probably a personal choice. I think that the amount of sky that you've got, if you have a justification for it and it gives it more feeling of place for you, then I think we're at the stage now with how quality these photographs are, that it's again a personal choice situation.
I agree. I don't really see anything that I can sort of kind of critique. I think I love the decision that you've allowed the two main buildings to sort of touch each other, if you like, which sort of emphasises the isolation of probably an outside loo or whatever that little shed is on the left. I really like that. You've separated those buildings. You've had a choice where to put your camera, and you've chosen to do that, which I really enjoy. Love the lick of light off the chimney against the mountains in the back. For me, the sky area is fine. It adds to the sort of wilderness, if you like, the wilderness feel, the openness, the general sort of mood of that part of our country, and I think you've captured it beautifully. I'm really happy with it, and well done, Helen. It's a great shot.
You make it really tough, these entrants, Helen. Absolutely beautiful, because this is such a well photographed and known scene, and you've put your own take on it as well. You've made that difference, but the whole shaft of the sun coming through and those long silhouettes is just done beautifully. I think it's one of the most difficult things to do is when you've got such a dark foreground like that and trying to tilt and get a horizon completely right and correct, because as soon as you alter one thing, something else will change in another aspect, which will be really tough to keep those angles even for our eyes. You've just balanced it really well, so I don't have critique here. It's just beautiful, understated, perfect. Thank you.
This image was 15th equal and was awarded a silver with merit. Congratulations, Kathy.
I'm just taking it all in, Kathy. It's quite hard to just suddenly come up with things to say when you see such wonderful things straight up. I've just noticed the movement of the water down to the bottom right. I thought it was all ice, but I think that's water, so really enjoying that. Obviously the penguins have come from somewhere, and just the isolationist feel of how these little animals live is, you've really nailed it on the head here. That I've never seen textures like that in ice formations before, so that's a little bit of a revelation to me as well. So I'm assuming that it would have been incredibly tough to find yourself a spot to capture this sort of environment without endangering yourself, possibly. So I'm really happy with what's in front of me. I'm blessed that you've made the effort to get it, and you've taken the time to wait for things to happen. There's a bit of advice that I got told once by a landscape photographer, that you find yourself a great place and then you just wait. You wait for something to happen. And I think that's what's happened here. You've found yourself a dynamic situation and you've waited for those birds to appear. So great patience and well caught, and thank you very much. Well-deserved award.
Kathy, well done. Absolutely fantastic, and I'm so thrilled that we can actually see your names for the entrance. It just puts a bit more of a personal touch, being able to see your name and chat to you. When I first looked at this image, I remember thinking, I think there's just a little bit too much down on the left. It's too dark, and maybe just cropping off a little bit there, just a fraction on each side, left and side. But the more I've sat with it, you see this real yin-yang of the different shadings of this ice to the background, and it's almost like a foam. It almost looks like a man-made foam splashing out from like an industrial, what do you call it? I'm getting carried away. When you try to protect the heat from going out, the foam core coming out. But it's so not that. This is real. This is just unbelievable. The story of the penguins, whether they're just having to rest. There's a story there like, wow, that was tough. Those orcas were right down there. We just got out in time. Everything's amazing. So well done.
Yeah, the penguins are really, they're so well positioned, and I see that foreground shape kind of like it's a walrus or something like that. It's not, but in terms of, inviting you to be, to use your imagination in this photograph. I love the layering. Thanks for pointing out the ocean there. There's so many colours, shades of blue here. It's wonderful. The only thing that I could suggest is I'm a stickler for dark spots on the edge that draw my eye because I actually look for them. So that's a me thing. But right up the top left, my eye is getting stuck a little bit on those dark bits that are coming into the frame, and I feel like without just those few little bits, I would have nothing to tell you. So this is a really masterful photograph, and congratulations on your silver with merit.
This image got 14th place and was awarded a silver with merit. Congratulations, Edward.
Okay, I'm just starting here. Congratulations, Merit. This is just amazing. Absolute, really well seen in Japan. I'm pretty certain that's Mount Fuji in the background. I'm almost 100%, been there just a few months ago. But just the feeling of Japan is you just know it and you feel it. You can hear the noise. You can hear the noise of that racing past, of the trains. It's the temperature, everything is just really well done. I'm probably going to give this to somebody, to maybe with the other two, I'm going to be a bit mean, just as a little for critique, because I can't find too much. If I'm being super, super fussy, maybe just that left-hand bottom image of that concrete little walk curb way, maybe just darkening that down, because eye just goes to that a little bit, but I'm being picky. So, yeah, well done, Edward.
Yeah, really great shot, mate. It's just the whole nature, man's intrusion thing for me in this image. I think you've just got the power and the solitude of the mountain in the background, understated, quiet, moody, and then there's all this intrusion that we've brought to the scape with all these symbols in the front and all these machinations that allow us to get our lives underway. I think you've seen this really, really well. To incorporate those two moods together is very, very clever. You've made a great effort. I personally can't critique it. I love all the intrusions into everything. It's a busy shot, but yet it's not. It's really pulls us towards the power of that mountain in the background, and well done, mate.
Yeah, this is a really tricky shot to pull off. I think you've really nailed it. Whenever you photograph busy stuff, it's always a challenge to have separation, to put things in certain places so that the eye gets led to other certain places and away from certain things. And I feel like looking at this photograph, your eye really is being drawn to the things that you want us to look at. And I like that purposeful intent that you've communicated here. I'm not sure, but I think there's actually the tail end of a train going through on the right with that motion blur. And if that's the case, because I think it is, I really love that inclusion of the movement, because the rest of the photo is quite static. But even as a static photo, I just think you've positioned yourself absolutely perfectly. Congratulations.
This image was 13th and was awarded a silver with merit. Congratulations, Trishan. They're just staring at the photo in awe and working out what they're going to say.
Sometimes it takes a little while to get your thoughts in order. I think this is another photograph where you've really brought us to a space that has both nature and man, and you have positioned yourself so that you can point out certain things to us in the photograph. And the fact that this is a night photograph and you've really handled the exposure of all the different light sources so well, including the foreground, the water, the industrial lighting on the left that reflects up the mountainside in the background. Those things are very difficult to handle, and you've really captured that, all of that, so well. The really jagged, angular forms and shapes in the top part are offset by that beautiful curve in the foreground of the natural forms. And I'm not sure if you light painted it or if there was light spilling across there, but either way, that lovely curve of the light in the foreground mirrors the curve of that water cascading in the centre. And all of it's very masterful. Congratulations.
Yeah, not a lot to add, Tricia. Great image. I'm just loving the nature in the beginning of at the leading edge of the image, and just swooping around like that. You've done a really great job to find that spot to give us that shape compared to the man-made structures above it. And as I say, the mirroring of the curve, as has been said, the mirroring of the curve is very clever too. I actually enjoy the darkness above the dam as well. It just makes us look at the structure of the dam itself, and the sharpening of that has been quite sort of well done too. So it's a surface and a structure that lends itself to that, and I think you've done a great job. It's hard to critique, to be honest with you, and you've done something that's really entertaining to look at with a lot to take in.
Tristan, well done. I'm starting to think a little bit business-like here and thinking you need to sell this print to the electricity companies, the CEOs, the town planners, the whole foreground of that grass, giving that big proud smile like, we did this, we've got this. So it actually brings a little bit of humour in saying we are successful, look what man can do against the forces, look how we're holding this. The architectural areas too, where the water's cascading down, it's very strong. That hot light is actually shown up beautifully. It's not too crunchy. Yep, well done. Go grab a sail if you can as well. Congratulations, Tristan.
This image was 12th and it was awarded a silver with merit. Congratulations, Peter.
Yeah, I can start if you like. Congratulations, Peter. This is a scene that many have photographed before, and you've got your own take on it here too. I really love the blues in this. It's done exceptionally well here, and you haven't pulled it out too much and made everything a little bit too neon with the luminescence as well. Just gorgeous. I think tiny little, if you wanted to not be so purist, just between the middle rock and the background rock, there's just like a little pebble up there that maybe could just maybe take that away, but you know, I'm being a little bit too picky here.
Well, I now that you mentioned that little pebble, perhaps, and you could be right there actually now that you mentioned, I can't take my eye off that, but nonetheless, I can't critique this. Just that the character of that and that object in the foreground here with that beautiful blue just beaming out of the darkness is just fantastic. So I just love it, mate. I can't really sort of say what I would do any different to what you've done. I think it's a fabulous image.
You've positioned yourself in a really great spot. I actually think that that pebble that we've called it in the background is one of the three, and the eye actually follows the three into the background and around the headland. So I'm not sure whether that needs to go or stay. I really appreciate that you've lightened the foreground boulder, the crater of it, so that it's got that glow. But I think there's a little bit of haloing around that rock that could have been addressed. There's just that little bit of brightness on the edge that you don't expect to find in nature. So I think that's a processing thing to address. And just the sky in the top left, it could be just this green, but there's a little bit of greenness to it that doesn't reflect well with the rest of the colour palette. So if you're able to make that more golden, then I think that would fit in more with the colour palette that you have going on in the rest of the image. But this is this is a wonderful shot of a very unique shot of a well-known location.
Thank you very much. And yeah, we're looking at the screen and we have the judges have suns in their eyes, so they might jump up and you can have a look. Yeah, no, you're not big enough to block out the sun. Nice try though.
We'll just do a little bit more walking around.
This image was 11th equal place. Congratulations, Helen. You got a silver with merit.
This is a fantastic aerial capture. What I'm really enjoying is the dual nature of the perspective. So we're looking at an aerial photograph that works really well just as a side-on photograph. It looks like a mountain on the horizon and some beautiful texturing in the quote-unquote sky. And I think you've absolutely nailed that idea, that concept of having an aerial look like it's not. So the strong golden tones, the strong blues, the strong magenta up in the sky. I'm really enjoying that colour palette. Those colours work so well together. And as an abstract, I think it's an image that I would happily have on a wall to enjoy for a long time. In terms of improvement, the only thing that I could suggest, and it's again a personal thing, a personal choice, is some of that darkness right at the bottom edge of the frame. Those textural parts are perhaps not. They're a bit incongruous with the simplicity of the rest of the photograph and are drawing my eye down to the bottom edge. And I think without them, it would be a more abstract, more simple photograph. And that's all I can suggest, because this is absolutely fantastic.
Probably that one.
I mean, I find this truly sort of amazing, really. I had no idea what the hell I'm looking at, to be honest, whether it was, now that you pointed out it's an aerial, I actually thought I was looking straight at something. The textures in the foreground work for me, because that gives me something else to entertain me that leads me into the shot. Just the whole painterly effect of it, I had to jump up because the bulk of the image looks like it's oil painting almost. So I've actually never seen anything like this. I mean, Tony Hewitt's pumped the stuff out ad infinitum, and I've never seen anything like this. I don't know what you've done here, but whatever it is, it's fantastic. So keep it up, and God only knows what the top 10 look like if this hasn't made it. So well done.
Congratulations, Helen. I am just absolutely thrilled with this image. Absolutely thrilled. Those really strong cobalts around that island jutting, well, the headland of that island jutting out, that's just contrasting with the heaviness of those reds coming, the deep, deep burgundy reds. I'm the same. It's just spectacular with the textures. You can almost imagine this crazy artist painting this and just splashing with his paintbrush or her paintbrush. Just incredible. I think the top right-hand side has been just a little bit too much black and darkening in there. I would have almost liked to have seen the reds a little bit more even across that area. But I'm being super fussy here. Just those strikiness of rich colours. Well done. Congratulations.
All right, our top 10 will be revealed in a random order, and no score or award will be shown. Judges will give some constructive feedback to each entrant, and the top 3 places will be revealed at the winner's announcement from 5 o'clock tonight. The rankings of the top 10 will be posted on our social media channels tomorrow. And before I go into that, New Zealand Photo Show is on this Friday and Saturday, and it's not too late to get your ticket for a single workshop, a day, or a 2-day event. There's a fabulous lineup of workshop-based events, plus on Sunday we have a range of masterclasses. So if you're into something a little more in-depth learning, book online at nzphotoshop.co.nz or come and see us at the registration desk. It is a great event and I love it, and one of the reasons why I'm here. And also, Bar 79 will be open from 3:30 till 8 tonight, and you might catch me there, maybe. It's out in the main foyer area here at Majestic on Durham, thanks to our sponsor, Joel Dunn Mindset Coach. All right, who's ready for the top 10? Here we go. Oh, and before we do, I'm just going to hold you in space for a little bit longer. If you're in Christchurch this week, we have free education sessions with Photo Connect. You do need to register for these events in order to attend, so check out the schedule and sign up at nzphotoshop.co.nz. And if you're sitting in this room and you have a particular thing, go check it out, because these are our professional photographers that are giving free education sessions, and you'll be able to pick their brains, so go and do it. And Sunday night is the Gala Awards ceremony is on, and we announce and celebrate the winners from Iris Awards and announce the New Zealand Amateur Photographer of the Year. This is a ticket event, so don't miss out and grab your ticket also at NZ Photo Show. All right, let's get on to the top 10. This one is one of the top 10 finalists. Congratulations, well done.
The curve of the railway line and the curve of the Milky Way, wow, you've just positioned that so well. I actually really enjoy the 3 spokes of the railway line that you can see that lead in as very subtle leading lines to that station there. I'm guessing it's a station sign. The angular shapes of that building really kind of, make that stand out against all the curves around it. You've captured so much of the night sky here with the glow on the horizon right through to the really contrasty parts of the Milky Way with the glow around it, and the way that those stars are all glowing, giving it that extra dimensionality. You've really crafted an amazing photograph here. The light coming through from the building really invites you in and spills onto that foreground area, creating a little bit of invitation there. I guess in terms of improvement, again, this is probably a personal thing. Those golden tones could in the sky could possibly match more with the yellows of the box inside the building, were you to remove a bit of the blue tones that are in that are making it a less vibrant yellow. But I am being so nitpicky by even pointing that out, and again, that's a personal preference thing. I think you've just really nailed it. Congratulations, Kevin.
Oh, just not a whole lot to say other than a great image. It's got so much humour in it. I mean, obviously the lines are smiling at us. I love the wooden underneath the rails there. They're just almost like teeth, sort of laughing at us. The whole thing. How you've held the highlights inside the building. They haven't blown out considering what's around it. Really, really well done, mate. Perhaps the only thing, and I don't like being picky at all really, but just that little pop-up of the bush on the far right horizon, it does take my eye when it doesn't really need to. It's not added value, I don't think, but that's about the only critique I could make. Otherwise, a really, really well constructed, presented image, and I can see why you've made the top 10 there.
Congratulations, Kevin. Another stellar image. Excuse the pun there. I love the humour here too of what man is doing, and then you're looking at what's happening in the incredibleness of the majestic sky, and you've kind of put us in our place, like us humans, what we can do, and we're quite proud of that. And then look at that sky and go, we are so nothing. You've done well. And another thing I'll just quickly say too, just the control of the inside of that lighting and seeing that detail. You've done so well with what such a dark skies have done. So big ups to you. Well done.
This is also one of the top 10 finalists. Congratulations, Paul.
Oh, Paul, I mean, you're probably the 90th millionth person to photograph that tree, and you've brought something a little bit different that I haven't seen before, which is obviously the foreground. The thirds in this image, there's almost nothing going on, but everything going on. So the pebbles under the surface of the water are radiating towards us and out the corners, which is a wonderful feeling. And you've just nailed it, mate. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, really. It's so simple and beautiful, and you've chosen your moment. You've printed it beautifully, and it's a wonderful image. Well done.
Congratulations, Paul. Absolutely stellar. I've got a funny feeling that this is the North Island saying, hey, you guys have all got, you think you've got the beauty down there, you think you've got that Wanaka tree, we've got this. I've got a funny feeling that this is in Taupo, I wonder. but the detail of those stones underneath the water, just leading your eye, is done super well. Little bit of mistiness down bottom right-hand side, but I mean, honestly, I'm being so fussy. I think sometimes maybe experimenting, even though it's a black and white, maybe experimenting with the different shadings of like the blues and the black and whites, maybe just to lift it a fraction in the whites to give us a little bit more of a ethereal feel through the centre there could be fun too. But I'm being so picky. Well done.
That tree is beautifully heroic in this scene. You've got to nail it with the central subject like this, because when you put it in the middle, you're basically saying, "This is what I want you to look at," and sometimes that can make it just too obvious, and you have not done that here at all. You've got that subtle diagonal coming in from the top left that reaches down in the sky. You've got such a subtle horizon that just does not distract at all from the beautiful contrast in the tree. You've got that wonderful reflection that isn't perfect and creates a little bit of movement and tension within the image. And yeah, as has already been said, the way that the rocks just emerge from that fogginess is so beautifully handled. And I do really enjoy, there's a beautiful area at the bottom left that has some lovely contrast. But it does draw attention to the fact that just on the very edge bottom left, and as Simone has said, just on the bottom right, they're just a little bit less contrasty. I think that you notice that because of that beautiful contrasty area on the left. So I'm just pointing that out as a thing. But I just think you've really made a very, very beautiful image, and it's one of those photos I think you'll remember. Congratulations.
We just need to speed it up just a touch.
Okay.
And this is the next image that's in our top 10 finalists. Congratulations, Keith.
Are you going, Russell, or?
Oh, it's hard to take some of these things in instantly. I mean, you've pretty much, I feel like you've just clubbed me over the head with this image. It's so powerful. All those strong elements leading towards us, but sitting in amongst all the softness of that movement you've created in your capture. The placement of the monoliths, if you like, in the background, everything is perfectly placed. The cloud treatment I'm enjoying is balancing the drama of the foreground with the drama in the sky. You've split 2/3 of the image with what we're looking at in nature, and it's aided and abetted by what's above it. So I see detail in the dark, so I've got no problem with anything in this image. Really, to be honest, it's beautiful.
Congratulations, Keith. Just nailed it. I'm the same. You don't want to pick something out of just for the sake of it. I'm not going to say anything more. Well done. Congratulations.
Those leading lines of the rock in the foreground that take you actually past the monoliths and into the sky and allow you to move around the sky in addition to those really strong formations gives it an extra area to explore. The slow moving clouds, the long exposure gives it the peace that it needs, because this would otherwise be a very hectic photograph. So I think you've really got the exposure right here. The only thing that I would point out is that back rock in the centre is significantly lighter than the two beside it, and it stands out for that reason. And if that's intentional, great. But if not, I think just the base of it, if it were a little darker, it would feel more natural within the space. Fantastic image.
Awesome. Thank you, judges. And this is the next one of our top 10. Congratulations. Well done.
To capture the aurora in all its glory with all the colour and position it over such a strong structure that has retained the colour, so it's really hard to keep the white's white in a night photograph. You've really captured and processed this photograph so well. I love the movement of the circular shape, both in the sky and in the foreground, but also the strong verticals that take your eye further up into the sky. You've got the stars there that are adding a little bit extra, like a little bit of glitter on the top. Possibly the only critique that I would have is those golden grasses in the foreground. I feel like they're not necessarily contributing in the same way that the other elements are. So personal choice, but perhaps consider whether or not they're necessary to be there. Amazing photograph.
Well, Kevin, it's a spectacular image, and I can see that you're fully in control of what you decide to do, and sometimes what you decide to do works for people and sometimes it doesn't. So the comment about the gold elements in the foreground I concur with. I think they haven't necessarily added anything, but I do love the balance of the darkness in the bottom to the darkness at the top. The little star coming through on the left I could probably do without as well, to be honest. But other than that, mate, you're on top of your game, and it's a beautiful image.
Kevin, congratulations. You've been really brave too with keeping the lights in out at sea, which I'm pretty certain are squid boats, which do my head in when I'm photographing this area. The squid boats just frustrate me so much, but you've kept that in. You haven't spotted those out, which is actually really quite brave of you to do that. The whole aurora, it must be like a KP, I don't know, 9. It's huge, and it's quite biblical the way it's coming down and giving you that sense of awe, just completely overtaking us little humans and showing the majesty. So you've really pushed that in and giving us that we're being enveloped by the amazingness. So well done, congratulations, big ups to you, dude.
And this image is one of our top 10s. Congratulations, Alistair.
Congratulations, Alistair. This is just so calming. It's just, it gives you a feeling, which is really quite beautiful to have. I'm not going to say too much in critique because I think it's almost perfection, really. A little bit of movement, showing the little bit of man-made happenings going on with the fishermen. Well done. If anyone can fault this, I'm going to leave it to the other two. I'm going to be really mean, and I'm quite pleased I actually talked first.
With the long exposure, the super long exposure, calming the water in that way, you've created such a beautiful minimalistic image. And I use the word created very purposefully because it is your choices as a photographer that have made this the image that it is. It's very intentional. The positioning of the horizon, the colour palette, the gentle light coming through from the left, and the ghostly characters that are on the edge of the jetty, the one fishing line that's on an angle there. All of that has been very purposeful and really well achieved. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's perfection really, mate. I mean, the first thing I thought of, I don't know if the tide comes in anymore or not, but if it's out and it's allowed those clumps at the bottom of the piles, if you've decided to take it at that time because of those, great decision. I just thought of a whole lot of sort of flamingos dancing around in the water with their little legs. It's really beautifully seen, and you've waited for a time that you can manipulate to accentuate the wonderful structure that you've taken here. And the movement, the long exposure is just great. The people are not intrusive in this image at all because it's all about the structure that's marrying them between the water and themselves and what they choose to do, fishing off the end of it. So just extremely brilliant shot, mate.
I'm just going to add in really quick. I've been given the hard word because we're going a little bit late. If you may not have had the choice, but if you did have the choice, if there was a tiny bit of a gap on the very far left-hand side of that bit another pillar, maybe just to separate that if we still had a little bit more of the ocean there, but obviously you may not have, and you've cut it there because the next thing was going to make it worse. But if you did have a gap of the ocean, maybe pull it out a little bit to include that. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
And this is another one of our top 10s. Congratulations, Josh.
Milky Way, aurora, reflections. Gosh, you've really got it all in here, and you've composed it really superbly. It's very intentionally composed. I'm guessing that either you visited this location at a different time to know where to put yourself, or it's a created image. Either way, you've that strong diagonal that comes through, and it's like a lightning bolt into the rock structure in the background. That's really created such a dynamic, and the colours of the glow, the aurora at the base there, the colour of the green and the orange and the blue, the colour contrast there are just so strong. I do really enjoy the colours around the stars. I'm not an astrophotographer, but I imagine that you need special equipment to capture that additional information there, and I think it's very subtle compared to like you've enhanced it instead of making that the feature. It's a celestial image that really accentuates the landscape, and that curve of the lake just absolutely finishes it off. Congratulations.
Yeah, I think the choice to allow the reflections to resolve those mountains in the background and bring them towards us as well in that beautiful shape of the pond or the lake is really great decision, mate. And just the light licking off those mountains on the left in the background just once again elevates the image. It gives it a bit more of a dynamic. It's so brilliant. I was looking for things to pick out, and I thought I could have chopped that little tree down, but I'm just being a dick. So, it's an incredible image, and I'm not skilled enough in this sort of thing to give it anything other than a wow.
Congratulations, Josh. Absolutely beautiful, really striking. The air glow, you're showing it from both sides there, and with the Milky Way just blasting through there as well. I know the areas that do have this grasses and the strong colours of the oranges are there. This is just a personal feeling for me, and I found this image just a little bit too saturated for my taste. And others might argue that, but just myself personally, I just found the saturation just bumped a little bit too much for my liking. So maybe experiment again in the future too. But I'm not telling you something that you're at the top of your game, as Russell said. So well done, but just maybe experiment a little bit with that saturation level.
And I'd just like to say I hope these people are getting some of these images printed, because it's not a photograph until it's actually printed and put it on your wall or somewhere. All right, congratulations to Anne. You've also made the top 10. Gorgeous image.
The combination of the movement in the background, the intentional movement, and the stagnant, very detailed structure of the tree in front is a wonderful contrast, and I imagine not very easy to accomplish. The way that snow is resting on the branches really gives it a beautiful 3D feel, and I think that the blurriness of the background gives it, accentuates that even more. I've not seen this technique with the blur in the background and the pinch up foreground with snow like that before, so I think it's really innovative and inventive. I actually really like how the tree has a bit of a false horizon that it's sitting on, that ridge line of the snow that goes across the scene at the same level as the tree, I think is a really nice barrier, like that kind of separates where the tree is from the background. I think it's really a really successful image.
Yeah, this is as good as any image I've ever seen in this way, really. This is a wonderful way to present nature, and the background having that movement in it, but nonetheless a lot of characters, if you like, leading upwards and out of the shot, just allows that jewel in the crown to do its thing. that little lick of warmth on that one little branch in the tree in the foreground. I enjoy that as well. The little lift of snow at the base of the tree just sort of gives it a dynamic that the wind is sort of blowing that snow there. So just all in all, this is, I mean, this is absolute perfection, really. I can't give it anything other than big ups.
Congratulations, Anne. It's really hard sometimes to get trees on their own and to get that background as well. Wherever you are, whether you're in Japan or it could be Canada, I'm not sure, but the delicate nature all through those trunks is just stunning. It calms us down, and the effect that you've done of that, the affected motion blur, and I'm trying to think of the name of it, and it's not coming to the top of my head. That is done. I think to improve, and this is not a fault of your photography, but the effect of where those gaps are in the background of those trees in the background, where the brighter parts are on the middle top left of the trees. Some judges might look at that and feel that it's haloing. I know it's not, it's just where the gaps are of the trees, but in this category you could have probably maybe just brought those trees down into the lines of those background trees into the top of the foreground tree, and then it wouldn't look like haloing, even though we know it's not. But you don't want some judge to make a mistake and talk about haloing when it's not there. Same with the top right. It's there a little bit as well. Just bring the lines down, so it'll help to stop that feeling. But well done, Anne. I'm being fussy.
All right, and congratulations, Robin. You've also made the top 10.
Congratulations, Robin. Absolute drama. I'm not going to say anything more. Can't wait to see this printed. Those golden, the golds of all that growth on the rocks on a metallic print. This would just blow my brain. And the luminance of that green on the left-hand side, just drama. Well done. Congratulations.
Yeah, the mood coming from, we don't have long to look at these beautiful, beautiful images, and there's a lot to take in. So really the glow off the rock balanced with the gloom and doom on the right is a perfect sort of relationship, really. I wouldn't want to see any more there or any less, or you've nailed it, really, and you've just allowed the strength of that element to play out. Well done.
I echo what's been said. The only improvements that I could offer are that the brightness of that water in the foreground keeps your eye down in the water, and I feel like right up against the edge there, perhaps just pulling off the brightness of just that strip that's against the edge would keep the eye in the centre of the image a bit more, and the darkening of the right-hand side is perhaps a little heavy, but amazing photograph. Oh, and there's just a slight bit of brightness at the back of the rock at the base that doesn't look completely natural. So if that were addressed, that would assist as well. A very, very dynamic and powerful photograph.
Congratulations, Robin. And this image has also made the top 10. Congratulations, Ross.
Congratulations, Ross. Just beautiful. Just the eye travels through. A little tiny bit bright on the top in the middle for me, but just amazing. I'm going to leave the other judges to it as well. Well done. Congratulations.
I think to achieve that that amazing detail from literally the front of the photograph right through to that distant shore, that is fantastic mastery of craft. The glow of the vegetation right through at the back really draws your eye through this cave, but the backlighting on those ferns is just gorgeous. The only suggestion is it's very contrasty in the cave area, but I understand that with the backlighting that's kind of what you're dealing with, and I think to have mastered this, to have created this with so much interest and the light conditions, it's a very tricky shot to pull off. So I think you've really done this well.
Yeah, good on you, Ross. You've taken us into an environment that sort of, it puts us there, which is what these sorts of images sort of try and do, and you've done really, really well there. You can almost feel the water and the dampness and the coolness of this environment. Perhaps for me, just the heat on the light heat on the hill out through the opening, kind of like competes a little bit with all the lovely characters that you've illuminated inside the cave. So perhaps if you drop that back and allow those leaves and things to just play out a little bit more, that would have helped me a little bit.
And another one of our top 10 finalists. Congratulations, well done.
Congratulations, Adrian. Just nailed it. I can't critique too much apart from, and it could just be the texture of everything. It might be a tiny bit crunchy for me down the bottom right-hand side. I'm being super picky. Congratulations. Well done.
Great choice. Well done again, Adrian. Great choice, mate, just to let the roof line break out through the background too, just to allow that shape to take its place completely. So it could have so easily been lost inside that horizon line. Obviously, the character of the light in the window is great. The heat coming out on the top of the building is great. It's a fantastic shot, mate, and you deserve to be in the top 10.
When you see the stars like this, when you see how many stars there are, and that's what is there every night, it really makes you feel tiny. And I think that's what you've done in this photograph, is you've made us contemplate how insignificant we are, but at the same time, it's that glow from inside the house that, you know, well, this is where we are, that we're grounded, we deserve to be here, we've made this our home. So you've got that homeliness as well as the awe and wonder that you've created in the sky. So I think this is a beautiful photograph and well deserving of being in the top 10.
And that is our top 25 in the landscape category. We will be back in just a minute with our next one. So congratulations, and
Good luck.
check back at 5 p.m. for our winners' announcements. And a huge thank you to Photo Warehouse.
Well done, everyone. Congratulations. I'm hoping you all opened up your bubbles at home and you're drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Wait, one, two, three. We're on in a minute. So
Can I go to the room? I'm going to have to.
bathroom down there. Okay. When we do this next one, we need to keep it short and concise because that dragged on 15 minutes too long.
Yeah, but do we all need to comment on every
You don't have to. If you've got nothing else to add, just don't say anything.
Is there 20 each time, is there?
25. So we've got an hour to get through them. Right. So if you've got nothing extra to say, or you just want to say congratulations, well done, that's fine. We just need to keep it 15 minutes shorter.
I have a suggestion, if you're happy to do this. If you can speak straight away,
Just jump it.
And then we'll just continue in the
The other
loop.
option
Yeah.
would be 2 people speak each time, rotating round.
Well, no, it's fine. You can normally do it. You just can't waffle.
Something to
Yeah.
Well, just go in order.
That's right.
Yeah.
Go clockwise.
So one person starts and then the other.